So I don't think I'm even going to do a proper intro. That would feel weird. But this is the very first inaugural test broadcast here on Forgecast Dota, which we hope to be a community casting hub going forwards. My name is Jamsquare. I guess you could call me the founder, but that seems too pompous. I had the idea of making a Discord and inviting other people to it, and that somehow makes me important. Um, so, so I am taking
Relax.
for myself the
You're,
privilege of this first cast,
he's the
and with
man.
me, you can hear the lovely sound of Tapera, my co-analyst. Welcome, Tapera. How are you doing?
I'm pretty great, pretty great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just gonna quickly, click on some buttons on Twitch and see if it looks like we're actually streaming, and it totally does. I'm doing good. Oh, it sounds like we're streaming too. Okay, that's good. We're jumping into this match here, TI Qualifiers, NA, between Digital Chaos and Team Freedom. The draft just finished up. This match, for those of you who aren't aware, is the game 3 in the best of 5 in the upper bracket finals of the NA qualifiers. So winner goes to Seattle, loser goes home. And Team Freedom currently have a 2-0 lead over DC. So DC are facing elimination here. Tapera, obviously we don't have time to do a full analysis of this draft here, but just what are your quick thoughts as we're loading into the game here about the lineups of these two teams?
Well, first of all, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Team Freedom that are on the ropes for now.
Oh, was
I
I
think
wrong
it's
with that?
looking good. I think so.
Off to a
Maybe I'm
good start.
crazy.
You're right, it totally is. I misread the thing. DC Dota are
Yeah.
up 2-0. Team Freedom are on the ropes. Thank you.
I mean, respect honestly though. Team Freedom had a great group stage, but they're definitely not the most experienced team. You've got some players that have been around, but DC has much more established names. You've got Bulba there, Mason, Abed, Dubu. They've been going for quite a while now. So
It's amazing to see, Mason continue to somehow be evergreen in the NA Dota scene just when you think that he's faded into the background. He always shows up with another team.
well, it's a love-hate relationship between Mason and NA Dota.
For sure, for sure. And it would be
I
exciting to
think
see
he
him
had a
in Seattle again. So let's quickly do some... Oh, geez. Let's turn off that. And let's go to free camera. And we're already into the memes in chat. So it's going to be a 4-hero smoke heading to the top lane for Team Freedom right off the start. They're not going to see Bulba, who's also smoked, coming in and placing that ward here. Just quickly watch and see if anything comes of this before we get to
You see what
player
Bulba did?
introductions.
It's a little bit surprising. He put a ward to block the camp as well as one for vision. So we're putting quite an emphasis on this offlane jungle, and I wonder why, because you don't really see.
Well, presumably it would be the Earthshaker in that lane. Or I guess, no, it would be the Clockwork there. So trying to limit the early farm from the Clockwork. So there's going to be a contested bounty rune here. It looks like Team Freedom will get 3 bounty runes at the start of this game here, unless Mason wants to come in here and cool spray. So let's do some player introductions really quickly. CC&C will be in the mid lane playing the Lina for Team Freedom on the Radiant side. Stan King plays the Bane in the off lane. Flea will be on the Clockwork. Yawar is playing the Necrophos. So wait, that's a core Necrophos. That's pretty wild. And Snaking is playing the Earthshaker. Meanwhile, on the Dire side for Team DC, Bulba is on the Night Stalker. Abed will be taking up the mid lane on the Queen of Pain. In the off lane will be Farev on the Batrider. And in the safe lane is going to be the duo of Mason on the Carry Bristleback and Dubu on this Dazzle here. What do you think about the core Necrophos, Tapera? That's my first question. Is this a core Necrophos? Yes, it very much is.
Well, to that, I'd say, honestly, in any kind of half-decent Dota, core Necrophos is the only Necrophos.
Okay.
The hero should, never be played as support. I think I've never seen it been played as support in professional Dota. So this is kind of the position I expected. More surprising than that is that there's a Necrophos at all.
That is pretty surprising. Looks like we're going to see early action on the bottom lane here. Flea coming in from the side after roaming a little bit early on. So it looks like it'll be a tri-lane with Bane, Clock, and Necrophos. And that Earthshaker will indeed be on the off lane, which is where Earthshakers have tended to be being played lately. Seeing a lot more Earthshaker focusing on getting levels and items rather than just being a sort of roaming 4-position support, which is what we used to see a lot of.
Absolutely. Yeah, Clockworker now has kind of taken the Earthshaker's traditional position of using those cogs kind of to make new terrain and block movement, much like the Earthshaker used to do with Fissure. Just seems that Clockwork is a little bit better at that right now.
And this dual offlane doing an okay job of making things difficult for UR in the bottom lane here. Take a look at mid and see that CC&C is very low here, so has been exchanging some harass with Abed, I think.
Yeah, he's having to go all the way back to base. That's rough.
That's really unfortunate for your mid laner. I mean, you're going to miss at least a whole lane of creeps probably in terms of experience there, so that's going to give Abed a nice level advantage.
He's already a level behind, and oh my gosh, and Abed gets a regen rune.
So things going well early for DC Abed in the mid lane, leading on last hits, and is going to be ahead on levels and pretty comfortably winning this lane, I would suspect. We'll see if CC&C can come back here. Head on over to the top lane and take a look at Mason farming up here, 10 last hits on this Bristleback.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a problem. Oh, look at, she's going aggressive on Lina right now. We might see some...
Oh yeah, all the way up onto the high ground is Abed, not able to get a kill, but definitely exchanging harass very effectively, and has picked up 2 null talismans now, so pretty good advantage in the right-click battle. Oh, blinks forward now, goes for the screen. Light Strike Array does just clip Abed. It's going to be a punch fight to the death, and Abed is just barely going to win. First blood to the Queen of Pain, and if he wasn't winning that lane already, he surely is now. We'll have to go regen, but feeling pretty happy.
Yeah, and this is a big problem. Queen of Pain now a full 2 levels ahead. Lina having to walk all the way to the lane. So not only does she get killed, she's going to miss these 2 waves of experience now. And meanwhile, Queen of Pain, 2 null talismans, her bottle, a TP, while Lina's still struggling to find her bottle. This is a big problem. They cannot let this happen.
Ferev is out of mana here on the bottom lane. Did get Firefly off, but has now been slept and is going to get cogged as well. Possibly no battery assault from Flea, trying to chase down the Batrider. Cogs were on cooldown. The last skull from Necrophos will not be enough to get the kill, but you are at least able to zone a little bit more effectively on this bottom lane, and is now up to 19 last hits, so equal with Mason's Bristleback. So at least the safe lane going okay for Team Freedom, even though the mid lane is very much not.
Yeah, Necro actually makes sense in this current lineup against Batrider, because one of the things that not many people know of, because he's such an uncommon pick, is Necro is actually quite good against both Bristleback and Batrider, just because every time they use a skill, you get a stick charge for your Magic 1, and when you use Ghost Shroud, you can double that heal. So you can get up to, I think, 15 times 15 heal, that's like, 225 times 2. You can get 450 HP back.
Oh, Flea just got caught out mid lane. He was hanging out with an Invis rune, but Bubba walked up and put down a Sentry Ward just at the right time. Light Strike Array stun will save the life of Flea, but he gets denied by Stan King on the way out. I think he would have probably ticked out there. Bulba now in trouble. Nightmare is actually going to keep him alive. Nightmare being traded back and forth. Little bit of a clowny fight there. Bulba manages to survive.
That was very well juggled by the Queen of Pain. When he was gonna get hit by the Dragon Slave, they were able to juggle back and forth the Nightmare so that they actually didn't get hit by it at all. That was very well played. And,
they were juggling it too quickly for me to even notice that they were doing it on purpose. That's how good it was. Top lane, we might see a bit of action here. Bulba's up here, and there are 3 heroes rotating through onto Snaking. Poison Touch to open it up, and now the punches from Bulba with Mesa chasing with the goo. TP in from Clockwork is just barely going to be enough to save Snaking. No, it won't. Ticks out to the Poison Touch damage, and no joy for Flea in terms of return kills. Dazzle heal, keeping everyone nice and healthy.
And if I were Radiant here, I'd be really worried because you look at middle lane, you still have Lina level 5, Queen of Pain 6.5. And we've talked about before how important the middle lane is this patch. Everyone knows that it's the most important lane pretty much. And when you just see one side getting this big of an advantage, you can't help but be worried.
So we are seeing Lina head into the jungle, and this is, you know, why you pick Lina mid in many ways, or one of the reasons that she's popular in the current meta. Is if you do lose that lane, you can go into the jungle, but there's going to be a smoke gank. Bulba from one direction, Dubu from the other direction, and CC can't do very much, taken out. And meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Ferev was able to get a solo kill onto Yawar on the Necrophos. So what you were saying about Necrophos being good against Batrider, not true, at least in this early phase of the game. You are doing well there.
Well, yeah, he does have an advantage in the sense that stick charges are worth double for him. But, you know, you still got to follow that baseline rule that you have 3 sticky charges, you should be backing off. And right now he's got 4, so he's in trouble. Yeah,
you are just diving under this tower with creeps to tank the shots for him, does not care, and there's going to have to be a rotation. Flea comes in, really need to secure this safe lane. You are falling well behind in farm now, 10 last hits behind. Bulba and Dubu are also here. This Night Stalker Dazzle duo roaming all over the map. They got a kill top, went mid, got a kill mid. Now they've showed up bottom. Aren't able to get a kill, but they do force both supports to rotate down here for Team Freedom. 7 minutes in, 4-0 kill lead. Lina now poking up to top lane. This is really a sort of not a great move for Lina. Not a great look to be off wandering looking for ganks in the opposing safe lane at this point in the game when you're behind in levels and last hit.
Especially when Dazzle has been here for all the game, you can kind of expect them to still have some vision around here. And sure enough, Dazzle just planted a fresh new ward, so this is definitely already a desperation move coming from Lina, just trying to get something to happen since she can't stand middle anymore against Queen of Pain.
A bright spot for Team Freedom, though, is snaking on this offlane Earthshaker. Despite the early blocks in the offlane jungle from Bulba, snaking has 35 last hits at this point, which is pretty incredible. Didn't have a particularly difficult lane matchup, and I guess, you know, Dubu was off roaming around getting kills elsewhere, but snaking has done very well and is doing a lot better than the offlaner on Team DC.
Absolutely. But, you know, that's actually a small consolation. Maybe once he gets his Blink Dagger, he can become a greater power in the game and try to bring him back with some good Fishers and Echo Slams.
Abed, mid lane, throws out the Sonic Wave onto CC. One more Blink Scream. Oh, that Scream there was not enough to do it. And Abed is going to back out. No, is now going to blink forward and does get the Blink Scream, but will be caught out by 2 heroes from Team Freedom. I think that might be a death for Abed. Echo Slam used, and the Fissure gets the kill. Actually, I think it was the Rocket player that got the kill there. So, 1 kill on the board for Team Freedom. They managed to avenge their mid Lina, who's just having a terrible time, going from bad to worse, really. And do get that kill onto Queen of Pain. So, a little ray of sunshine for Team Freedom here. They do need to win this game and then win 2 more games in a row to make it to Seattle, but all hope is not yet lost.
Yes. Yeah, all hope is not lost, but they really need to get something going. Either just break up the laning phase and start rotating as a team, or just, like Lina was thinking about earlier, just stay in the jungle and never show up in lane, because every time she does, she just gets harassed by Queen of Pain, who's a much stronger hero at this point.
Yep, we saw that just there, Abed. No fear about blinking up onto high ground, throwing out the Scream and right-click harass.
Necro just committed his ultimate only to be blocked by Dazzle in a turnaround with the Night Stalker.
Caught the end of that there, yeah. The rotations from DC have just been so sharp from their support duo with the Night Stalker and the Dazzle. They have seemed to be in the right place at the right time so far this game, where it's been Team Freedom support who've been arriving at the last minute with TPs to try and save people.
Absolutely.
DC really forcing the tempo of this game and imposing their will in that regard.
Yeah, and I just can't help but wonder what exactly happened in the first and second wave so that Lina just fell so far behind.
There's going to be a fight mid lane. Stan King is being blocked back by the Flame Rake and hit with Dazzle heal bombs, but staying alive so far. Flea is here as well, gets the cogs down, but it's not enough to save his friend, and Forev just able to Firefly on out. Veil of Discord completed at 10 minutes for a bed. This is a very, very happy Queen of Pain. Up to 70 last hits and several kills already.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good. You know, it's just surprising to me because Queen of Pain and Lina is such a traditional matchup at this point in the middle lane. You pretty much see it every game. I'm surprised to see Luna losing so badly. Maybe it's just a little bit of the nerves showing for Freedom now, being 2 games down, almost eliminated from the International.
And, you know, it's been a tough week, I'm sure, for a lot of these teams, especially teams that maybe don't have as many experienced players, aren't used to playing an intense schedule. You know, going through this group stage and then into this qualifier, I'm sure there's been a lot of long days of multiple games for these guys, and that, you know, can take its toll. I'm sure they're not going to be playing as sharply now maybe as they were a couple of days ago. Do see a smoke up from Team Freedom trying to make something happen here. Stan King and Flea are smoked up, and they're going to link up with Snake King and CC in the mid lane, head on up into this jungle, maybe try and catch out Dubu on the Dazzle, who's stacking camps. This ancient camp very well stacked up. I think that's a triple stack there.
The issue
not
is
go ahead.
don't really have anyone to take that with, so I'd be surprised to see anyone able to take that away from the Bristleback.
And that smoke gank not really coming into anything. They weren't able to really find anyone. They didn't feel bold enough to push deep into the Radiant jungle for fear of being caught out. And we see Bulba just all over the map. Has those phase boots up, which is all that Night Stalker really needs to get busy, and placing a deep ward behind the enemy tier 1 tower. Haven't seen any tower push yet from DC, despite their lead, but they are now pushing with a DD Queen of Pain onto the bottom lane tower, forcing out the glyph. Meanwhile, go ahead.
That was Night Stalker prepping the terrain. After that ward, they know that no one's going down there, so Queen of Pain can pretty much push with no worries, while Batrider kills the lane and jungles at the same time, so they can be pretty efficient with that ward.
Hope it's a smart move. There will be a counter push. UR has come up to the top lane, and Flea is hanging out there, hoping to either catch out Dubu or push this tower. Dubu is going to TP out, so we might just see a trade of towers here, or we'll see if DC want to rotate and protect this. Looks like Abed is content to stay down on the bottom lane at the moment and keep pushing out here. And meanwhile, Mason has come to mid lane to put some pressure on there. Bristleback already up to a Soul Ring and a Vanguard, so feeling pretty beefy in this early game. And CC just hiding, throwing Dragon Slaves at the creep wave, doesn't really want to engage. And Bulba and Forever just hiding in the trees here, waiting for a chance to pounce. May just be a standoff for now. DC willing to sacrifice their safe lane tower to UR for the moment, it seems. And we will not in the end see an engagement mid, as both sides are going to pull back a little bit.
Yeah, Dire is much more interested in making sure they take the stack person back at Dazzle.
Top lane, Forev gets the lasso out onto the Necrophos, but CC and Snaking are both here, so that will not be a kill. UR will survive, and we're going to have a pause. Snaking says that he lagged, but he's okay, so hopefully we'll get going again. Snaking does have that Blink Dagger already, so we saw that great early farm that he had and managed to get his Blink Dagger well ahead of the Batrider. Batrider did go for drums first, so a little bit of a more stable build.
Yeah, that's a little bit more standard now. Oh, and Queen of Pain.
Yep, missed a kill mid lane there. That was a Sonic Wave used there, so Abed continuing to have a really, really good time on this Queen of Pain. Not really too worried about anything Team Freedom are doing. And the push will come through onto the mid lane.
And just that Batrider jump. Oh, look, Night Stalker trying to get a kill.
And there's a big attack going up on north. Batrider has got a lot of hate there. All the ultimates except the Echo Slam being used there. But it was at the cost of the mid lane tower, so DC taking a tower lead. They only have a 1k gold lead so far. But feeling pretty good about the position that their Queen of Pain and their Bristleback are in. And this Batrider, although not doing quite as well as the Earthshaker, is going to have a Blink Dagger in a reasonable amount of time. Did lose some gold there on the run up to it, but should be able to make it up in the jungle without too much trouble. CC&C, Stan King, and Snake King are up in this top lane, so applying a bit of pressure. Looks like we might see another tower trade as there are 3 DC heroes pushing the Radiant safe lane. Bulba has showed up to defend, but it looks like there will be a simple TP out there from the Bane. CC&C will phase boots away, so nothing doing there.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And both
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Catch up. Despite everything that happened in the early game, there, like you said, it's only one game advantage, so unless I was this team, to be quite honest.
Tapera, I had to say your audio is starting to sound a bit weird. I don't know if you changed anything there, but you were very robot-y for a moment.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Lina has queued up this Yule Scepter, so not a ton of farm, but like Tapera was just saying, catching up, able to do pretty well in that jungle. Net worth here. And we're going to see another smoke attempt. Hopefully this one will go better for Team Freedom than the last one did. You are with Stan King and Snake King, and they're going to head up past the Roche Pit. Maybe we'll catch out Bulba mid. He is isolated, and it is daytime. And no mana available for Bulba here, really. That's going to be a kill. Reaper's Scythe comes out, and Yuar is down. Tapera, are you there, my friend?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. You don't sound robotic anymore. That's good.
So yeah, it looks like they're doing a go bottom, but Queen of Pain's kind of alone here. She's got to be careful with that Earthshaker.
Does manage to blink away before the cavalry arrives and has a haste rune, which is probably why Abed was being so bold with his positioning there, knew that he could haste and get away. Stan King drops down an observer ward, but unfortunately right next to a Dire sentry, so if any Dire heroes come over there, they will immediately see that. Mason is clearing out these ancient stacks that were there now and has got his hood and medallion up. Second on net worth, just behind the Queen of Pain. So Mason has been getting a lot of farm. Hasn't been taking part in many of the fights, hasn't been rotating a lot, but, Dubu and Bulba and Yuar and Ferev even have been, setting the tempo of the game with their rotations and allowing the Bristleback to just farm up.
Absolutely. I assume they're going to use him kind of as their ramming batter, essentially, for the T2 towers. Just putting him ahead and daring Radiant to fight them as they try to push. So that's why he's right now.
Top lane, Lina does get a stun out onto the Batrider, and the hookshot comes in after Firefly, so Laguna Blade will get the kill. Nice hookshot there on the fleeing Batrider, but Darkness is popped, and here comes that battering ram. Mason heading on in, and watch Team Freedom scatter. TP out from Flea will make it. Flying vision from Bulba, not quite enough to get there. It looks like Stan King is the only one hanging around. He'll get out if he knows what's good for him, yes. And Team Freedom will be able to back out. So I feel like Team Freedom getting themselves back into this game a little bit here. They didn't have a good laning phase, and those early rotations didn't go in their favor, but they've managed to avoid some of the ganks recently. It's only a 1k gold lead for DC, and that's not insurmountable.
Absolutely not, and especially considering they're one tower behind, that's not bad at all. It's much less than I expected, to be quite honest. I think they made a good choice, kind of backing off of their lanes, letting the supports kind of soak the XP, and just hitting the jungle with their cores a little bit. They managed to...
Dire's middle tower.
TP's top lane, looks like we might see a fight. Stun onto 2, but Mason is so tanky. I don't know, even with 4 heroes. Hookshot will get through onto Dubu, and Cog's back. That's probably going to be a dead dazzle. Reaper Scythe out before any shallow grave attempt, and that's another good kill for the Necrophos. 2 Reaper Scythes in a row. Does have the Rod of Atos going now.
And these kills are actually surprisingly influential now on these supports, because of the way Necros works now. You're dead for an extra 20 seconds. So for support,
Echo Slam onto Ferev on the Batrider bottom lane. Can they get these stuns chained up? Yes. Stan King is there with the ultimate. And Queen of Pain will show up on the backlines, however. Might be able to get some revenge kills. Bulba takes the Nightmare off of the Queen of Pain to allow the blink forward, and that's a double kill for Abed. So trade the Batrider for the Bane and the Earthshaker. Probably not worth it. Did allow CC&C to get some push on top lane, but didn't manage to get much damage onto this tower.
yeah,
Pink's coming out onto Roshan there.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Oh, you went all robotic again. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's something with the Discord or the connection, but you seem to occasionally be having Some audio issues.
I think it might be my internet a little bit because I have a thunderstorm here in Ohio. So
Oh, wow. Well, maybe that is it. Maybe it's all the static in the air or something.
yeah, I know my connection gets a little bit worse whenever I have really strong storms. So I'm hoping it quiets down a little bit pretty soon.
Might see some action from DC here. They are all grouped up in the mid lane, and it looks like the call is going to be Roshan, and that might be the cue for them to then take a bit more aggressive action. Neither team has been sort of very, very aggressive in this game, and that's kind of what you expect in a grand finals like this. Players are, with so much on the line, players are going to be a little bit more cautious. Teams aren't going to go for totally wild strats. They're going to try and play it safe, try not to, you know, open themselves up for any big throws or big mistakes, and that's what DC are doing. They're playing it safe, not exposing themselves too much, not overextending themselves, and they've taken this Roshan, gotten that Aegis onto a bed, so this Queen of Pain, just really, really scary now. Has Lincoln Sphere already, before even finishing up treads, has those treads queued up now.
Yeah, that's usually not the order you go on. Just goes to show how well of a game she's been having.
Might see a smoke here. Yep, 4 hero smoke. The Queen of Pain top, but everyone else mid lane, and that is going to be a lasso onto CC&C on the Lina. And we'll be able to get away for now, but the follow-up is there. Yule Scepter, I don't think is going to be enough to save CC&C. Last few right clicks get the kill on Lina. Snake King is cleaned up as well. And with a bed here, and Aegis in hand, push coming pretty steadily from DC now. That 1k gold net worth lead we were talking about a moment ago is now up to 4k net worth after the Roshan and those kills.
Yeah, it was maybe a little bit misleading with how much they were building up both their Bristleback and their Queen of Pain.
Bristleback with the full solar crest now. Yes, go ahead.
Look at the farm distribution, it's pretty heavy on the top 2 cores in Dire as compared to Radiant. So maybe they just had it all building up for a while.
So claiming towers all over the map now, and it looks like Team DC are going to stay together and keep pushing, all hanging around this top lane here and maybe pushing onto this tier 2 tower now. And Team Freedom forced to sort of stay grouped up in response. They know that DC are sticking together and they need to as well. Don't want to keep getting picked off.
Absolutely. The problem is that I don't really foresee with the start that they have that their team's going to be stronger than Dire at any point in the game. Bristleback, notoriously known for how powerful he is, and Queen of Pain is the flavor of the month hero as far as late game mids go.
Yeah, and that's why you feel like the Necrophos pick is a bit surprising here. I'm not really sure with the core pairing of Necrophos and Lina what timing they're trying to hit there, or where they feel like they have a good power spike with that lineup. But it certainly hasn't played out that way in this game. Mid lane, Stan King very out of position here, but does have some backup. And gets the Fiend's Grip out onto the Night Stalker, but there'll be an Echo Slam as well, and Queen of Pain will show up and throw out the Sonic Wave onto 2. Night Stalker did go down here, but Bane will be brought low as well. Earthshaker manages to TP out. 1-for-1 exchange there, not too bad for Team Freedom. And lines drawn on the map indicate that DC are going to be methodical about this and push down the last outer tower.
Considering that they have the Aegis, you want to actually be on the aggressive, if at all possible, when the other team has an Aegis. That way, if they tie or even if they win a fight, they're not right in front of your base to keep on pushing. So it kind of helps that they took a fight at least near the river. That way, you know, it draws out the Aegis, and I think that's pretty much everything Dire is going to be able to do with this Aegis. I don't really see them getting another push out of it at this point. No,
and they have indeed spread out a bunch. Mason picked up Boots of Travel already and is going to dodge the gank that is incoming top lane. UR and CC&C show up to find nothing. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Snake King is here, invised up with a Shadow Amulet. And we're going to see pushes on both sides. This tier 2 tower bottom will not last long, already on half health, and Queen of Pain punching away at it. We'll see if Bulba is able to come in here and disrupt. Yes, Darkness is going to be popped and TP in from the Bat Rider will be going for that lasso very shortly. You are and Flea are both here. There's the lasso. Bane dies elsewhere, but lasso onto the onto the Lina even. Yule's at the last moment isn't going to be enough to help. And 2 are down for Team Freedom.
Dire's top tower has been denied.
DC even managed to get the deny off on the tower. So tower exchange going in their favor. Mason, meanwhile, is fighting on the bottom lane. And not really caring about the fact that he's up against half of the opposing team. That Solar Crest plus Hood plus Vanguard just super tanky.
Absolutely. And so kind of, I can somewhat understand what Radiant Team Freedom were going with the Lina, Necrophos, maybe a really powerful mid-game spike again. But, and Necrophos is somewhat of a counter in Bristleback with the idea that he does damage based on a percentage of health you have. That way, if Bristleback is at near half health, you can maybe finish him off with that ult. But all Bristleback's build kind of defined so commonly now that I don't really know if that's a good idea with Necro's ult being magic damage. And but
yeah, it doesn't feel like the most confident draft from Team Freedom here.
No, a bit out of the ordinary for sure.
See if there might be some action top lane here. Abed is going to jump forward, and looks like CCNC might be in trouble. Stun from Earthshaker will keep the Lina alive for now, and there is support from Stan King as well, so CCNC will survive that gank. But Forev is coming up from the other direction. Bathtub will be used, so that Rider is going to pop Firefly and back away over the Roche pit here.
Like they're going to try to go after them, maybe hoping they won't expect the smoke gank.
Yep, trying to be aggressive here, Team Freedom. Not quite desperation yet, but they definitely know they need to make something happen. This game isn't going in their favor so far, and this is their last chance to get to TI7. So they've got to try something.
Rocket Flyer manages to see Queen of Pain, so they might try to go for her, but I think that's a mistake.
And this will probably go bad for them if they do engage here, because all of Team DC is up around here. They will go onto the Night Stalker, but immediately the counter initiation with the Bat Lasso. Hook will come in at the last moment, and Bulba is going to go down here, so a good start to the fight. But Stan King is caught in the cogs now and is going to drop, so is Flea. Meanwhile, the Necrophos has been chased down and killed, and now Bristleback and Queen of Pain are onto the Lina, and that fissure is not going to be enough to save her. As CCNC runs helplessly back and forth, and a monster kill streak for Abed. 1500 net worth, leads the game at this point, has the Orchid ready. Working on a Maelstrom at this point to really get that right click going. And I think there were some pings there. I think they know that Snake King is around here somewhere, but they aren't able to find him.
I doubt they'll be able to catch him, but speaking a little bit about that fight, you can kind of feel the desperation coming from Team Freedom. They knew their smoke was just ending, and they were able to catch Queen of Pain with that rocket flare, so they wanted to try, even though they were going to fight uphill, to still use that smoke and not feel like their whole time was wasted. That's kind of the pressure getting to them, but...
Snake King may have caught out the dazzle on the bottom lane here, commits the Echo Slam, but probably worth it to get the solo kill in the end, and has finished up that Shadow Blade now. So punching above his weight, I think, is Snake King on this Earthshaker, but I don't think it's going to be enough to save this game. DC now getting very aggressive. Bulba and waiting for the lasso here. Yep, there's the jump in to the base, and the Necrophos is pulled out and punched to death. And I feel like we could see a GG at any moment at this point, to be honest. It doesn't seem like Team Freedom have a response for the aggression that DC are able to put up.
I'm sure they'll hold on until they manage to at least crack one or two Raxes, so I wouldn't call it yet, but it's definitely looking very hard. Especially that Queen of Pain, it's not just her farm, look at her levels. She's on 700 XP per minute. Just an insane game for this Queen of Pain.
Yeah, 5 levels ahead of the Lina at this point in the game, 30 minutes in. That's a pretty impressive advantage. It looks like DC, like we said earlier, aren't going to be too aggressive about this, are going to play it slow and steady. So they went back to check out the Roche pit, but now they are going to see the Radiant side pushing out, and they are going to go on the Mason, runs forward, punches the Bane mercilessly in the face. Fissure to try and disengage will not be enough, and there comes the Sonic Wave as DC just swarm forward onto these Radiant heroes. Mason running up ground with no fear whatsoever. Farev is there as well with the Blink Daggers. Yawar throws out the ultimate in desperation, but it won't be enough to get the kill. And DC just chasing down Team Freedom within their own base at this point. Looking pretty bad for the Radiant as the net worth lead is now out to 10k gold, and DC are going to back off and take this Roshan, which will provide a small reprieve for Team Freedom. But this next push could be the end of the game.
Yeah, but I'd like to maybe draw a little bit back to explain why all that just happened right now. See Team DC, like you said, with no fear at all, diving P4s, diving inside the base. And I think a lot of that confidence comes from them knowing that the Earthshaker uses bottom lane against Dazzle.
That's a good point.
Not to say that that was a mistake. Yeah, not to say that it was a mistake, but they know that even if they die, Necro was dead and Earthshaker doesn't have his ultimate. And at this point, they need every skill they can get to defend their base.
Yeah, not having that Echo Slam to defend a high ground push, I think actually that is a mistake from Snake King. It's understandable why he wanted to get that kill when he saw it in front of him, because so little has been going well for the team this game that you just want to grab any positive thing you can, but as a consequence they were able to chase high ground. DC were able to chase high ground without fear of that Echo Slam at all. De-warding going on. Bulba's been on the vision game all game, and you would expect with a Night Stalker bat combo to win the vision game.
Be hard to maintain any map control of them, especially when you're already on the back foot. It's just so hard.
So Cheese is on the Queen of Pain, and I assume that means Aegis is on the Bristleback. Yep, there it is. BKB queued up. Sandra and Yasha bot for Mason. And the push is going to come bottom lane. This could be the last chance for TF. There's that Echo Slam we talked about. That's why you keep the Echo Slam for high ground defense. But it's not going to be quite enough to stop this. They don't even manage to bring down the Bat Rider. Stays alive in Nightmare despite all that damage thrown out. Mason now just running forward with the Aegis, throwing out quills and punching people. Will get brought down for the first time. But I'd be surprised if they're able to bring him down. I don't know, actually. Abed is in here. Getting stunned up. Is able to eat the cheese, though. And that should be enough for the fight to turn. Yes, and there is the GG. Snake King calls it out. And Team DC win 3-0. And they will be going to Seattle. To TI7. What a game.
Yeah, great game. And I can't help but feel I don't want to harp on it or anything. It's very understandable, but I don't think Team Freedom showed us their best game this match. You could see that they were definitely a little bit shaken up, and understandably so by being 2 games behind. That last fight, you even had the Necro ulting on a Bat Rider who was already great, and so it was just completely wasted, and just a couple of other small things during the match just seemed a little bit off.
Yeah, definitely not a performance that Team Freedom will be proud of, but I think they can be proud of their performance in the group stage overall. You know, as a whole, I think they've definitely done well for themselves, and you could see this team continuing to have success in the NA scene if they do manage to stick together, which of course is always the tricky thing after TI qualifiers.
Yeah, that is the big question for NA teams, especially. I guess in the world, you're totally right. After the internationals, usually teams that don't qualify don't stick around for very long, but I hope they do. These players, Yawar, Snaking, CCNC, they have a lot of talent. And like you said, maybe they're not proud of their performance in this final match, but they should definitely be proud of themselves overall in this qualifier. There are plenty strong teams, and they showed great potential.
So quick look at the scoreboard here. You know, obvious standout performance. Abed on the Queen of Pain. 670 GPM, 780 XP per minute. Really excellent performance, dominated that mid lane. We did miss that early exchange, but that really set the tone, you know, able to do a lot of effective harassment early and just snowball from there. 17-1-4 in the end. And Mason on the Bristleback, no deaths, wasn't really troubled in lane much early on, was able to get his farm, get those early items, and get to that scary Bristleback battering ram status as you described it. And I also just want to shout out Bulba, just because I like Bulba. And I think he had a good game, like we talked about, controlling the vision, getting down good aggressive wards, being that tempo setter, roaming around the map with Dubu and Farev, and, you know, disrupting everything that Team Freedom were trying to do. I think that had a big impact.
Absolutely, you could feel that everyone had a purpose in this game. Mason, obviously, that battery ram. Like you said, Bulba and Farev just running around on the map, setting the tempo, Dazzle, Dubu serving as that counter for your war. We from Necro ulti quite a few times. And like you said, Abed, just standout performance. If you look at her damage, she did pretty much as much damage as all the cores in the Radiant team combined, just to show how great a game she had.
Wow. Okay, well that's gonna do it for this cast of the last game in the NA/TI qualifiers. I have been Jam Square. My co-host has been Tapera, and this has been the sort of kickoff inaugural stream on this Twitch channel. So we're now gonna go make sure that everything works the way we want it to, and hopefully in the near future there will be more Dota content on this channel. Hopefully with lots of other casters and people participating in it. So we hope to see you back here soon for more from the Forge Cast Dota team. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.